live. Good morning, excuse me, good afternoon, everyone. Come on in, come on in. Good morning, excuse me, good afternoon, everyone. Excuse me, guys, that's my feedback on my monitor up here. Hope everybody having a good evening.
Hey, Sharita.
What's up, Sharita? Yeah, I'm beat. I'm still tired and drained from the weekend. But the show must go on. I'm excited about today. We get a chance to talk about one of my favorite topics, something that I rarely hear people talk about. Yes, we getting ready to discuss the same topic that we spoke about on last week. Is there a limit to pleasing your mate? This is the do-over. So you gotta make sure that everything is working so that my phone don't get cut off, and right now everything is going great.
Hey, Adrian. Hey, Jasmine. Thank you for coming back, Jasmine. I think last week was your first week joining us, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. All right, guys, we're gonna wait till we get a few more viewers, and then we're gonna go and open up the show. Y'all excited about talking about what we talked about last week? Y'all excited about having this discussion again? Y'all get a chance to mention things that you didn't have a chance to mention on last week and reiterate on some of the things that we did.
Hey, Ma. Catherine B. Blandon. Brailsford Blandon.
Yeah, so good.
Hi, Sherry. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Come on in, guys.
Sherry?
Huh?
I don't know if I pronounced her name right.
Yeah.
Sherry.
I think that's it. Hey, guys. Everybody. Waiting on a couple more viewers. We going in.
It's cold and the weather is changing. It is so crazy, man. Like, I think it was sunny. It was like 80 degrees. Oh, did I?
Good.
It was like 80 degrees Saturday for the ordination. It was perfect weather, like 84 degrees.
Yeah.
And then yesterday it was Sunday rain like all day, and now it's cold. So
tornadoes and all
yeah.
that. Sherry said you did pronounce her name right. We know you heard that, Sherry. Anyway,
hey, Tasanya.
Hey, Tasanya. Alright, we need a couple more viewers, and then we're gonna go ahead and start. Meantime, I'm gonna ask my production team if they will bring me some water, please. Can I get some water? Hey, can I get some water? Production. Thank you. Somebody grab me some water, please. Thank you.
The regular one's fine.
Room temperature is just fine. All right, guys, we're getting ready to go in.
Would you like the interview?
Production, could you be quiet on the set, please? Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys, we're getting ready to go into it. Let's pray. God, we thank you for allowing us to be here, oh God. We thank you for the topic that we're going to discuss on today. Lord, we thank you for our viewers. We thank you for our new viewers, and special thanks to the return viewers, oh God. God, we ask that we continue to be able to say something across here, that somebody, even our viewers, would be able to say something that would reach even more viewers, that would make them want to continue to watch. Yes. We ask that the words that we speak on here bring life, peace, love, and joy to the viewers. And we ask that you arrest the airwaves, that the enemy won't be able to misinterpret what we say on here or use it for any type of negative ill will. And God, we will forever give your name the praise and the glory as you continue to enlarge our territory and as you continue to increase our platform and as you continue to give us new ground. We ask and we pray that you keep us humble and keep us covered. In your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All right, guys. We had a good topic on last week. We was talking about is there a limit to pleasing your mate? What are you willing to do? What are you not willing to do? What should you do? We even went into scripture and what scripture says on the matter. We talked about, we shared our personal story and some things that we went through. So we just kind of want to reiterate. So if any of you guys asked questions from last week and you remember what your questions were, or if you got new questions, feel free to ask and we will go ahead and answer. What I would want to open up with, if I'm remembering correctly, I do remember that somebody asked a question on last week. They asked about, and this could have been a whole topic in itself. They asked, should your family come before your mate? They asked that question. Should your family come before your mate? And we discussed that, you know. And me personally, I believe that when you decide to become one with someone, and y'all decide to come together and become one and spend forever with each other, then that means that nobody is supposed to come or nothing is supposed to come before that person or whatever. I know a lot of times we have issues where the in-laws don't get along with the spouse or whatever the case may be. And sometimes, you know, that drives a wedge in between the couple or whatever. So it's very key that you lock in with somebody who knows the importance of becoming one and don't allow family members to get involved in relationships and try to hinder the growth of your relationship or even speak against your relationship or whatever and have you guys fighting with each other or whatever. You want to say anything?
Real quick before we move forward, if y'all can please go to your pages and share this video. Go ahead and share this video and tag your friends. Tag people and a lot of times people forget about what time we come on maybe. And some people just don't know. So share it, tag everybody. All of that good stuff. Put their name in the comments and all of that stuff like that or whatever. So yeah, give you a quick story. Like I did on last week. Quick story was when my wife and I got together. Hey, Miss Pat. When my wife and I got together, so many people didn't want us to be together. You know, I had real issues with her family as well. Speaking against me, saying some things like I was going to leave her alone. I wasn't serious with her. Our marriage wouldn't last. That she shouldn't do it. She too young. And, just so many different things or whatever. And, I could have made her choose, or force the issue and be like, oh, well, why would you want to continue to still be around, or entertain that, whatever the case may be. But if I would have done that, then it would have made her bitter towards me. So in my I guess you would say experience, I've learned to say, you know what, give people enough rope, let them hang themselves, so to speak. So I look at some of those people that have said these things, and some of them are divorced now. Some of them have had failed relationship after failed relationship, and these adults we talking about. And then some are not in happy relationships. Some, it's just totally different from what you would think somebody giving advice to somebody on relationships were. And a lot of times, you have to understand that what your relationship is what your relationship is. And it's you in that relationship, nobody else. So to make decisions based on other people and other people's opinions who is not in your relationship is really just a setup for disaster anyway. So just wanted to share that. So it's very key that you try to not allow family to come in. And you also got to protect your mate and guard your mate
because I know a lot of times, like my wife shared on last show, a lot of times, you know, she would, we would get in arguments or get into whatever, and she would go and share that with certain family members or whatever the case may be. And it's dangerous to do that, because when you do that, when you get over it and you're willing to forgive your mate, the family members still hold on to it. You know what I mean? And maybe you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think that's so important, because the topic of today's show is, you know, is there a limit to pleasing your mate? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes once we allow other people to influence our view of our spouse or our significant other, then that can put limitations on what we were willing to do for our mate, you know, whether we believe it or not, you know, we are what we be around. You know, you're a product of your environment. And so if people are speaking negativity into your spirit, into your mind, into your ears, and you're soaking that in, and then you have to, you know, you will act on that based on what you hear, right. You know, and so that becomes a part of you, and that can cause discourse in your relationship, which will limit your ability to please your mate, because you're blinded by what you already heard, right. What you let out, you know, and things like that. So be very mindful. It starts with just keeping that inner circle your inner circle.
That's right. Hey, Shalonda. Hey, Dominique.
Hey, Shalonda, Dominique, Sean. Thank y'all so much. Real quick, go back in and share on your page. Share on your page. Thank you, Shalonda. Thank you so much. She said, carry on. Appreciate it. Love you. Y'all, please go share this video. I mean, we want to make sure that everybody knows that, you know, it's up to you whether you believe there are limits to pleasing your mate. No one can really answer that, in my opinion. No one can really answer that question for you, because some of us feel that there are certain things that we will not do, that we will not tolerate, that we will not allow when it comes to our significant other. So what is that barrier for you? Is there a barrier for you?
That's right. Shalonda, you said Nika pretty, and she is. She's so beautiful. But how I look? Shoot. I think I look
jealous,
too now.
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Anyways.
Hey, Denise.
Hey, Denise. Yeah, share. Yeah, there shouldn't be, you know, there shouldn't be a limit to pleasing, you know, your spouse. I believe, like, when you go into your marriage or your relationships or whatever the case may be, like, you already know what you're seeking to get out of it, and you already know what you're willing to put into it. You know what I mean? And I'm talking to the people that's trying to have forever, not somebody that's just trying to date for a while. I'm talking about, to be honest, mainly married people. And then for those single people out there, just to give y'all a little bit of advice on some things that you might be able to try to look into, you know, as you go on. Thanks, Shalonda. As you go on or whatever. And, you know, so, for example, like, there is really nothing that I'm not willing to do to please my spouse. To please Nika, I would do whatever she asked me to do. And a lot of times, you know, guys, we get stuck in our ways and stuff like that. And we be like, you know, well, if I got to do all that and blah, 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 blah. But most of the time, you did do all that to get them. You know what I mean? So there's no need for you to start being relaxed now that you got them. You know what I mean? Because, you know, trust and believe, you know, there is somebody lagging around the corner waiting to please your mate. You know, so if you slack up, you know, somebody gonna act up.
Yeah, so it is very important, you know, that you communicate with your mate and let them know if there's things that you expect of them, you know, and if what the consequences are if they are not able to meet that standard, you know, because maybe some things that, you know, they can't do for you, you know, and at what point do you say, you know what, if you can't do this for me, I'm just using that as an example. Like, say for instance, we talked last week to a young lady that said, you know, she makes her own money, she's independent and things like that, you know, so she doesn't need a male or a person to help her, you know, pay her bills or create a stability or a stable home, but she's looking for companionship. And so if you have somebody that wasn't financially stable on their own and they needed someone to provide that for them, but the other person wasn't able to, you know, at what point do you say, if you can't do this, then I'm out. I'm not waiting 2, 3, 10, 15 years for you to get it right. You know, I'm done. You know, right. What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice anything of yourself? You know, I know for women, for me, I'm especially prideful, you know, and it's a lot of things that it took a long time for me to to not do or to do for David, and it's some things that I'll say, well, I'm not doing that. I don't care what you say, bye, and that was my answer. And I meant that in the moment. But you look at the bigger picture and you say, you know what, if me giving up this, swallowing my pride to not, yell back at him every time he says something to me, or not snap and get an attitude every time he says or voices his opinion, me swallowing my pride for a few seconds, is that worth it? Is that worth the outcome? Am I willing to do that just to humble myself for just a few moments, to have a nice day that day?
Yeah. One thing that is very key is that if you really trying to become one with someone, you're pleased when they're pleased. So at the end of the day, it really shouldn't really be like, oh, I'm doing this to please them, but pleasing your mate should please you. So that's very key. If y'all one, then I just can't see how two people could be living together and deciding to spend the rest of their life together, but I'm upset and something is bothering me, and you okay with it. You going on throughout your day on the phone having a conversation with your homegirls and all of that, laughing and giggling and just everything is lovely. And then the minute you get off the phone, you put on this whole, oh, I'm still got an attitude with you type thing. I know me, like if me and my wife have an issue that's not resolved, I don't want to talk to nobody else. I don't want to talk to her. I don't want to go out. I don't want to, don't call me. Nobody call me. No company coming over until we get the issue resolved. Because I believe that if thanks, Mr. Moe, Freddie. I believe that how could you claim to be in love with someone and want to spend the rest of your life with them, and you call yourself mad or got an attitude? How could you be upset and angry with them, but then go around and smiling and giggling and cheesing up in other people's face, knowing that they back at home hurting because y'all didn't resolve an issue? That just don't make sense to me. Yeah. Shalon, you guys are hitting the nail on the head. I'll definitely do whatever it takes. Sensibility, that is. Yeah. Sensibly, that is. It has to be reciprocated though. Yeah, and like I said, at the end of the day, you have to, if you pleasing, your mate or whatever, and they're not doing the things to please you, then there is now a question you have to ask yourself, like, okay, am I going to stay? Because I'm not getting what I want, you know what I mean? And oftentimes, especially us as men, we don't like to own up to what we did. And to be honest, I know we talked about cheating before on an earlier show. However, when you don't please your spouse, this is what leads to that, to the cheating. And then when it happens, us as guys, we can do it, but then if somebody else, if our woman do it to us, then it's like, well, how could you do this and how could you that and blah, blah, blah. But, sometimes you got to step back and be like, hey, I ignored all the signs. Like, I know it pleased her to take her out on dates sometime. I know it pleased her to be spontaneous sometime. I know it pleased her to give her flowers or strawberries, run a bath with some rose petals in it and all of that. I know she liked those type of things, and I stopped doing it. So, now it's a silent scream that's taking place, and that silent scream is being heard by somebody that ain't even in the house. You know what I mean? So now all they got to do is come along and say something at the right time, and before you know it, they're pleasing them now. You know what I mean? And it don't necessarily have to be another person. Let's say, for instance, y'all know them scratch off things. Mm-hmm. Those things are filling a void sometimes for a person that's missing. You know what I mean? A lot of, some people are very well addicted to scratching off. Not even for the sake of, they love to win, but it's just the thrill of it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's just the thrill of the gamble or let me see. You know what I mean? Like the excitement of, it's kind of like I remember for a while in my younger day, I used to chase women, and to be honest, it was really about the chase to see if I can do it. Because by the time it got down to actually doing it, most of the time I was like, man, I don't feel like all that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's just like voids need to be filled, as far as pleasing your mate. And if you don't, then she's gonna go look in other areas. You know what I mean? Some men might turn, or women even might turn to drinking. You know what I mean? So they can suppress the fact that they ain't getting what they want. You know what I mean? Some men turn to porn because their wife is not being the porn star that she was. Excuse my language, for lack of better words. She's not being the fantasy that she was to get them. You know what I mean? So, it's a lot of things that take place and that happen, So y'all come on, let me see what they saying down here. Sometimes you have to teach your mate how you want to be loved. What makes you happy might not make me happy. That's true. Yeah. And like we were saying on last week, that's all me and my wife was talking about. And then our leading lady came and she ministered on the same topic, like, love me the way I'm telling you to love me. Not the way you think you should love me. You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't care about no bath water being ran and a bubble bath and all this, that, and the third. I don't care about that, but she does. You know what I mean? So if she make me a bubble bath or whatever, and I'm telling her, and she knows that's for her, that ain't for me. That's not, I could care less about that or whatever. However, what I do want you to do is X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? So a lot of times women, what we do is we do what we want to do as far as showing love to our mate, men and women, and then we want extra credit or appreciation for something they don't even care if we did or not. Like, for example, I remember my wife used to be like, what you mean? Okay, I didn't feel like, I just wanted to put on this or whatever to be comfortable around the house. I didn't want to put on blah, 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 and this, that, and the third. Well, I'm going to put it on, but I mean, you act like I ain't cook for you, and you act like I ain't clean, and you act like I ain't this. No, I don't act like it, but you act like I asked you to do that. You act like that's the way I want to be loved. No. You come in the house, I want you to get out your clothes and put on some better looking clothes, and then, let's talk. Let's, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So, and it took a while for her to understand. Well, you could tell them about how that happened. But even for me, I used to think that, especially when we first got married, I used to think as long as I go to work and I give her my money and give her my check and pay all the bills and stuff like that, that I was loving her. Oh, yeah, because I watched my dad do that. So I figured, that's the way, that's what men do. You know what I mean? So I would come home, I would give her my check, sit on the couch and play my video game all day. Sit on the couch and play my video game all day. Call my nephews up and me and them play the video game all day. You know what I mean? And she used to be stomping around the house acting all funny and all that. And I could never understand why. So then when she finally came to me and was like, you did something she said or whatever to let me know that she was unhappy. I was like, what you mean? What more you want from me? I pay all the bills. You go where you want to go. You do what you want to do and you blah, 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 blah. And she said one key thing. She said, but I do it by myself. And that's when I had to check myself and say, you know what? I never even stopped to ask her, how do you want me to love you? You see what I'm saying? So, let's take time for that.
Yeah, that goes a long way. Like Eartha said, love me the way I tell you I need to be loved. A lot of times we do it the way we want to receive love, and the other person, our significant other, they don't understand it. It can't be translated because that's not their love language, quote unquote. That's not how they interpret it. And so if I'm saying I'm showing love to David by, cooking him his favorite meal, I'm showing that love to him, but he wants me to show him love in a different way, but I'm exhausting myself or giving of myself so much in this one area because that's what I would like for him to do for me, then I can't expect the same response because that's not the thing that strokes his ego, so to speak, and so he doesn't understand that love that I'm giving him. He doesn't, receive it because it's like a language barrier, so to speak. And so we got to make sure we communicate with our, significant other and tell them exactly what it is that you want them to do for you. Because I know as women, like a lot of times we want our men to read our minds. And I had that issue for a long time, saying, well, you should have just known to do that. You should have just known, and David would always say, well, why don't you tell me? How would I know something, if you don't tell me? And also, not only you just telling me, but for that reason, but you telling me makes you sure that you gave yourself the benefit of the doubt. So if he does not do it, then I know that I've done my part in telling him what I wanted from him. So I can't hold him accountable for something that he didn't do if I didn't tell him what I was expecting.
In other words, she's saying if she tell me and I don't do it, she could cheat with a clear conscience.
Yeah.
Oh,
you heard that? Yeah, we can't expect something.
Is clear.
Yeah. No.
Anyways, but hey, that's the truth. I know for me, if I'm asking you and I'm telling you, this is what I want, and you're not getting it naturally, as human beings, we got survival instincts. So if we feel like this is what we need to survive, and I'm not getting it, and I'm telling you constantly, this is what I want, this is what I want, this is what I want, and you're not doing it, then chances are it's going to happen. And, me personally, once I have said it and gave you the benefit of the doubt, and you don't comply, my conscience is clear. So, yeah. Even with our kids per se, I tell my kids go outside, put on a hat, put on a coat, zip it up, all this, that, and the third. If they don't listen and they don't do it and they get sick, I told you my conscience is clear. I told you what you were supposed to do. So now, if I want to take the approach of you still going to school, they can't be like, well, why daddy making me go to school when I told you to put on your jacket? Anyways, I digress. Another topic I wanted to talk about, well, not topic, but it's on the same topic. I just want to go into a different area with it. Is like I said, a lot of times we want, like my first lady said, she said that, if I give you specific instructions on what I want you to do, and you only do some of it, or you only do part of it, or whatever the case may be, then don't expect to get full credit for it. You know what I mean? A lot of times we doing all this other stuff thinking we pleasing our mate, when our mate is saying, you did all that, and like she said, tire yourself out and exhausted yourself in one area, but I didn't ask you to do that. You know what I mean? But you never did this. So you want me to appreciate the fact that you did something that may have been a good thing now, because a lot of times we do good things, So you did something good, but it wasn't good to me because I didn't ask you for it, And that's the stuff we gotta be mindful of. Like, guys, if your woman, let's say you take her out to dinner or whatever the case may be, right? And that's good, you know what I mean? But that she wants more than just going out to dinner. Let's say, for instance, she don't care about where y'all eat. She care about how y'all eat. Like, for example, if if I take my wife out to dinner and I'm always in my phone, I may as well have stayed home. You know what I mean? Because now you doing a good thing and you doing part of the stuff and what she like, but she like more when y'all sitting down at the table, you holding her hand, and kissing her and stuff like that or whatever. She like that. That's what she like. She can get that. Like, y'all could have stayed home and eat oodles and noodles as long as you was doing that. You know what I mean? So you can't be like, what do you mean? You say you want to go out to dinner, right? Mm-hmm. I took you out to dinner, right? You know what I mean? And that's what we do. You know what I mean? And women, the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, if your husband buys you lingerie or whatever, and he bought it for you to wear it. You know what I mean? And when you wear it, don't act like you're doing him no favors. Like, you know what I mean? You supposed to do this. You want to please him. You supposed to do that. So, like, you can't be like if you wear the lingerie or whatever, y'all do what y'all do. And then, there's other things that he wants you to do that pleases him too. You can't be like, well, I put on the lingerie. Like, okay, and you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you did that. I'm glad you did that. But guess what? You did that and went to sleep. You know what I mean? So, you just got to make sure that, we don't let like my dad used to say, don't let your good be evil spoken of. You know what I mean? If you're going to do it, let's do it. You know what I mean? Don't try to see if you can get away with the bare minimum. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, like, it's almost like, doing in school or college or whatever, and you know your instructor says I need an 8-page paper, you know, and then you do 2 pages, you know, hey, I submitted my paper on time before the due date, you know, and then they give you an F, and you wonder, you know, well, because you know you started the assignment but that you didn't complete the task, you know, you got all the instructions, you read the instructions, you knew what was expected of you, but you turned in something that was incomplete, and so you cannot expect complete results with incomplete work.
Yep.
You know.
Can I get some of the credit then? Can I get a little bit of credit because I did a little bit of? Sometimes it's all or nothing. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's all or nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's like women. Y'all know if y'all come to us men after catching us cheating time after time after time. What if we cheated last year and then this whole year went by and we didn't, and then y'all come to us because we ain't doing something right, and then we hit y'all with, well, I mean, darn, I ain't cheat this year though. You know what I mean? You see how crazy that'll sound? You know what I mean? Hey, Elite Pierre, you see how crazy that'll sound? So, you know, it's like, it's all or nothing. You're going to do, you know, everything, or you're not going to get any credit whatsoever. You know what I mean? And not to go, you know, too far off topic, but it's just like with God. When God give us assignments, he give us specific instructions.
Yeah.
So if he tell you, I want you to turn around 3 times and or click your heel 3 times or whatever for you to receive this blessing, and you only click your heels 2 times, that don't mean he only going to give you 2% of the blessing or whatever the case may be. You still end up getting none of it because he told you exactly what he wanted you to do. You know what I mean? And he is the epitome of love. And if you don't have love for him, and love for yourself, you're not going to be able to have love for your spouse. If you're not trying to please him, you're not going to be able to, you know, please your spouse, because that's one of the very things that God requires as us as men, as married men, is to please, and as women, is to please each other. You know what I mean? Even scripture say, you know, and I turn this in towards my wife, if you don't love your spouse who you see every day, love them enough to make sure they're always happy, to not be good, or you can't be good if you know they're not happy. You okay with, like, you know, they always say you're never supposed to go to sleep upset or whatever, this, that, and the third. You, like, if you're good and cool with that, if you can rest easy and life is just smile on your face going, like, my world is upside down when me and her is not on the same page. I don't want to deal with nobody at all. I don't want to do nothing until we get that right. So, yeah, let me see what my brother's saying. There are some guys out there will cheat no matter what you do or don't do. That's true. That's definitely true. And like I said, you know, once you get to a place to where you feel you in a relationship and you not getting what you want out of it, then it's a whole nother decision you got to say. You know what I mean? You got to make a decision. Do I stay or do I go? Terrence Price. The biggest problem that I had in marriage was the word assumption. Assuming that my wife is okay, working and paying all the bills, I assume that she feels like I think she's beautiful. That's right. Mm-hmm. That is correct. That is correct. Like, man, I'm very detailed when I talk to my wife about how beautiful she is, what I like about her. And she was very insecure about, you know, certain things until, you know, and I love the fact as I saw me make her feel beautiful, and I saw her confidence rise, and I saw her attitude change and the way she walked change, and, you know, and it was great because it helped out in every aspect of her life. You know what I mean? And she used to tell me from time to time, you know, you think you made me feel beautiful, you know, but yeah, that's great, because let me tell you how crazy assuming was for me. I assumed my wife was going to keep putting up with my nonsense for a long time. I assumed that. That's what I assumed. You know what I mean? I assumed that I had more time to get things together, until I got a phone call saying, your wife hired a divorce lawyer. That's when I realized how real things can get while you running around assuming. You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, the worst thing you can do is assume, because I would have been assuming my behind right at the divorce court, thinking that, you know what, she ain't going to leave this time, you know. She ain't going to, you know, whatever, you know, whatever. She ain't going to do that this time. And the whole time, that girl was lawyering up, about to get me.
I'm gonna tell the story real quick about because we was talking about how not to let family members and stuff get into your whatever. Tell you a story about when me and her first got married. We wasn't even I don't even think it was 6 months, you know what I mean? And we also was talking about compromise and should I have to compromise and should we? Well, I want to say this because we should have talked about this earlier. I want to say this: in every relationship, there is a compromise. Everyone, you know what I mean? And people always want to mistake that word compromise for settling. You know what I mean? We're not saying settle. You know what I mean? Like if you got a specific type and this is the type you want and you know that this is what you have to have, you can't do without it. No, don't settle. There is somebody out there to fit the mold for what you want. However, you have to compromise. And what I mean by that is like if like we said earlier, the young lady was like, she got her own job, she got her own house, she's very independent, she make her own money, this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. Okay, then that means the man you have shouldn't have to have all that. And that's where the compromise come in at. You know what I mean? So if you got all that, then your man shouldn't have to have a job per se, or your man shouldn't have to have a house and a car and all of that because you got that. And that's not what you coming to him for. Now, if you need romance, if you need protection, if you need companionship, you know what I mean? So now what if a guy comes along and he's giving you all of that, but whatever the case may be, his finances ain't where he could take care of you or whatever. That's where you got to say, you know what? Well, ain't like I need him to do it anyway. But he's so great in all these other areas, so let me go ahead and compromise to be with that person. I said all that to say this. When I got into any relationship, my motto was you only get one time to leave me. I never would forgive. You know what I mean? And if I did forgive, it wasn't to where I was forgiven and we would move on and I stay in that relationship. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I checked out of relationships because of an offense that the person I was with did. And I just really never told them that I checked out. We might have stayed together as far as mouth, but I was somewhere else doing something else and was like, oh, well, they'll figure it out. You know what I mean? I said that to say this. If I didn't compromise and change that about me, my wife and I would not be together to this day. Me and her got in an argument 6 months into our marriage. She left the house and spent the night out. Didn't come back. Spent the night out. I would say, I really would love to know where, because she stayed with a relative, I believe. I really would love to know what was they encouraging her to come back to the house? Was they saying, I told you so? You shouldn't have, you don't have to put up with that crap. Anyways, long story short, what I did was I called my mom's because back then, I had one foot in the street, one foot out. I still had whatever I got was in my mama name or whatever the case may be like that. And my mother had a credit card that I used to use. And I called her because I needed a credit card for a U-Haul. And what I was going to do was move my furniture out of that apartment before she got back. I was going to have all my stuff gone and turn the lights off. And she was going to come back to an empty apartment and I was going to tell her, we done, But thank God for having people in my life like my moms and my pastor and my sister, because my mother, automatically knew something wasn't right. You know what I mean? So she was like, what you need this for and this, that, and third or whatever. So I said, I need to rent a U-Haul. Next thing out her mouth was, where Nika at? So then I told her whatever. And anyways, long story short, I promise you, she is the fact she didn't get me that U-Haul is the only reason that I can think of that we're still here. Because I know I would have moved out. I don't know if we maybe would have patched it up and make things better later on, but I was done. You know what I mean? But thank God that I grew and I learned to compromise. So now, for anybody looking to go into a relationship and you talking about forever, just know this, you're going to have to forgive a whole lot. Yeah. You're going to have to forgive for every single thing imaginable, or be willing to. If you're not willing to forgive the person for any and everything and keep on moving and try to make the relationship work, then it's over before it even starts. Go ahead.
Yeah, you want to make sure, talking about are there limits to pleasing your mate, make sure when you're trying to figure out what your limits are and stuff, and if you decide that you want to share your issues with people in your family or your friends or whatever, make sure it's with people that have your best interest at heart, make sure it's people that's going to, ask you and encourage you to hang in there if it's worth fighting for, and not only just point out the negative things, because relationships don't last long anymore, and we're not cut out. It seems like this generation is not cut out to stick in there, because we want to make sure that we want everything to be perfect, like microwave, and just make sure we want the results, but we don't want to work hard for anything, and so I think the outside influence should be so positive that it pushes us to try to keep this thing together, and that includes compromising with each other to make sure that you please your mate the best way you know how, because maybe I am doing the best that I know how, but it may not be good enough for David. It may not be good enough for your significant other, but make sure you put your best foot forward, because if it does not work, then you can make sure that, I've done everything I could do, and you can be complete and at peace with the relationship coming to an end if you put in 100%.
Right. You guys share. Make sure y'all share this video and tag people, let them know what's going down. Share it now. Tag now. Don't wait until after the show. So more people can be aware of this conversation. I heard you say earlier that pleasing your mate the best way you know how or whatever. It's also our job to be good at interpreting to our spouse what pleases us. It's our job to interpret that. Like she said earlier, we can't read minds or whatever the case may be. So it's our job to do so. However, once you've felt like you've communicated it well enough, it's no longer a best way I know how type scenario. I believe it's either you are or you're not. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if he says, okay, I want you to hop on one leg and bark like a dog, and you hop on two legs and bark like a dog, and he'd be like, hey, you almost got it, but that ain't it. I said one leg, you know what I mean? And you continue to do two legs. Well, I'm doing it the best way I know how. No, you're not. You're doing it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
Who seen the movie Coming to America? That's what I thought of just now. So.
That's true, and like you said, make sure that you clarify to your mate what it is you expect from them.
Yep.
So, and that is the communication skill. I'm gonna make sure that you know what I'm talking about, so that when you don't do it, that you did it purposely, or and if you can't do that, you need to effectively communicate that to your significant other. Look, I know you're asking me to do that, but I can't do that, or whatever. You want to address a comment?
No, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Terry Lynn.
Hello.
That's a first-time viewer, right?
Yeah, Elite too. I think it's first time. All the first-time viewers, thank you guys so much for coming in, supporting this show. Please continue to share this video. I wanted to make
we'll get to the announcements later.
A point real.
Go ahead. I want to read this right here. Elite Pierre got a comment. He says, you have no idea how much I needed this live broadcast. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, man. That means a lot.
Thank you so
much. That means a lot. I was just talking to Shalonda on Sunday, and I told her that and you need good support systems and people that really back you up. I said when this show is no longer effective, then I'm going to stop doing it. And she looked at me and she said, well, I guess you ain't gonna never stop, because it's gonna always be effective. And that went a long way, you know what I mean? That really encouraged me, because guys, it's stress, not really stressful, but it's a strain to develop topics and pray and go to God, because we really prayerfully consider what we talk about and then come back out here and give it to you guys or whatever. But we get so many inboxes and things like what Elite just now said, because this really is a need. There really is a need for things like this. You know what I mean? And not only did I do this because I know people needed it, I needed it. You know what I mean? I needed it. Don't think by a long shot, guys, that when we come on here, we coming as if we know it all and this, that, and the third. We learn a lot from our viewers. Believe me, we learn a lot. So thanks, guys, and thank you, Tanya.
Yes. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Eartha. Appreciate you.
You guys are really teaching teamwork makes the dream work. Yes.
Hey Sheila. Hey Monica. Thank you so much.
He
said, go down. Make sure it's people who have the relationship's best interest at heart.
Yes. Then that's key too. Let me I'm gonna let you get to that. Let me say this real quick though. Remember how I said about how like you're not supposed to put nobody before your spouse or whatever the case may be, and how my wife used to deal with putting her family before us and all this, that, and third or whatever. Like now it's funny because with the compromise came knowing people that had the relationship's best interests in heart. So now she puts my family sometimes before me. And I don't like it. I really don't. And my brother is one of them that she would do that for. Like, if let's say if I'm hungry and I want her to cook, she probably won't. But if he call her and be like, I'm on the way, make me some of this, make me some of that, she'd jump up and do it, And I used to get angry and upset about it. But then I said, you know what? No, I can't. Because at the end of the day, he would jump up and stop anything on the drop of the dime and do it for her as well. And my mother, forget about it. Oh Lord. Like I leave the house when these two get together sometime and act like I got somewhere to go. They get on my nerves. You get on my nerves. But anyways, yeah, so you need people around you that have the relationship's best interests at heart. That's not just picking one side. My brother Daniel as well. Like my brother Daniel tell me off in a minute. You know what I mean? You be looking for people to side with you. You know what I mean? And be like, oh, well, she this, she that, she that. My brother Daniel would tell me straight up, David, you wrong. David, you need to do this, you need to do that, blah, 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 blah. And I tell her the same thing. Not that he's trying to, pull anybody apart, but he's really trying to strengthen the relationship. He has the relationship's best interest at heart. And some people they just don't do that.
Yeah. You want to make sure that that people encourage you, that people can see farther than what you can. Sometimes when you're in a situation, you can only see the situation for what it is in that moment. Mm-hmm. But surrounding yourself with people who've been there, who've lasted. I like to talk to couples and older people who've been married for 40 plus years or so, because they've been through the mill and they know how to tough it out and what strategies that work for them. What worked for them may not work for me, but I can maneuver it, manipulate it so that it works for me. That's just like a workout or a life change or whatever you go through. You make sure that I might not be able to lift the way you lift, or I might not be able to do as much cardio as you, but I do as much, or as I make sure it works for me so that I can get the results that I need. And so it's very important that we link up with people who are gonna push us into where we want to be. Yeah.
We told y'all the story something. Well, we got some new viewers, so we gonna hey, Terrence Price, we getting ready to tell that story again. We got some new viewers, so we gonna tell it again. The story of how me and my wife was at a bad place where we was really getting ready to split. And this happened a couple times in our marriage. And my sister called me up and my brother-in-law called me up and they asked us to come over to the house or whatever. And they wanted to talk to us about something. So we was thinking that, maybe they wanted to talk to us about where we going to go vacation at, because we a lot of times go on vacation together. So we like, okay, we going back to Vegas, we going to Puerto Rico. Matter of fact, that was before we went to Puerto Rico or after? Before. So anyways, we thinking we getting ready to talk about something like that. So when we came there, my sister, she grabbed her and she grabbed me. She put us together and she tied something around us real tight. A rope around us. And they pushed us in the closet and locked us in that closet and said, y'all not coming out until y'all get whatever the problem is right. Because we not letting this die. And that really went a long way. It really went a long way. And we said to each other that for somebody to care enough about our relationship, that they could recognize that something was going on and really wanted us to work so bad until they called us over to the house, to work it out, and trust me, it was power in that closet too. It was power in that closet. So, you need people around you that has the best, the relationship's best interests at heart.
You really do. Not just your best interest at heart, the relationship's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because so
like, I don't think when we was in the closet, we didn't even talk. We like just held each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to stop. Just stop in your tracks. Like, look, you know what? This ain't working the way we're doing it. So, you know, sometimes you just need to hold each other and just, you know, you can communicate without saying anything, you know, and then we needed that moment to just hold each other and release to each other, you know, our frustrations and stuff like that. And that, you know, was the beginning of healing in us, you know, being able to put the pieces back together to move forward, you know, in this thing that we got 15 years later.
Hey, Carol.
Hey, Yvette.
I love my sister. Hey, Ma, you want to come live? My mother's been married for like 70 years. And, Ma, you want to come in live and tell these people what it takes to give them some good motherly and good shepherd motherly advice and all of that? I know you're going to say no, but I asked you about it earlier. And give somebody your phone and tell them to show you how to add in so you can come if you want to. If not, then say next time maybe or something like that. Because I think you could really share with these people some things. And I think it'll be good for ratings. No. But yeah,
hey, Shani, thank you so much, girl. I appreciate you.
See, Mama Sheila said she would love to have you come in on live and talk to the people. I'm gonna start utilizing my mother more for this show if she can get out of her shyness, because she has one of the gifts that goes overlooked in the Bible. She has one of the gifts called word of wisdom. And even though I like to take her advice all the time because she be cutting deep, boy, I tell you. But when I do, I always end up in the right place. And one of the most beautifulest things that she has ever done for me was save my marriage. Like, she was like, David, no, you cannot keep leaving everybody. You cannot you just now got out of a bad relationship. What are you doing? No, you cannot keep doing this. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that I listened. I really am. I'm glad that I listened. I remember when we was honoring my mother last week, Nika got up and she said something that really touched me. She told my mother, what was it that you said, that the best gift that she ever gave you? Or
like, you know, everybody was talking about, you know, how normally she has a gift of healing too, you know, healing. You know, you know, she pray with you. I mean, I guarantee you the anointing will flow, and you can best your bottom dollar. Your healing process has begun.
That's right.
You know, your physical healing. But I was saying that not only can she reach heaven to, you know, pour down or withdraw physical healing, but a healing in the atmosphere, so much so to heal our marriage, you know.
That's right.
And in the first year, that's what she did. She prayed over us and made sure that that what we committed to God stayed committed to God, you know. And even if we didn't see it, she saw it. And so she felt like it was her duty, her responsibility to make sure it worked. Even though it was us that made that commitment to each other and God, she still felt like because she knew better, that she had, you know, the responsibility to do that.
That's right. That's right.
So thank you, Mom. Appreciate you
and then
very much.
Look, and then their relationship shifted, and then I seemed like I was my mother's son-in-law, and she was her daughter. So when I would get on her nerve, on Nika's nerves, my mother would be like, Nika, pack your bags. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You leaving this joker today. But yeah, I love my mother, man. She's very, very funny lady. Y'all, those of you who know her, y'all know she would make you laugh.
Hey, Channing, classmate, battle buddy. Thank you for joining. Hey, Janelle.
We love you too. What's up, Shannon? Y'all share this now. Don't wait until it's over with. Share.
I wanted to mention, ask a question. We talk about what we would do to please our mate, but what if we come into the relationship with a certain habit or something, you know, and our mate may have overlooked it or it didn't bother them that much. Maybe you weren't living together or something like that, and then all of a sudden you say, you know, well, I don't want to deal with that anymore, you know. If because you came into it that way, do you have the right to say I'm not going to change it because they, you know, went into the relationship like that? You know, I mean, that's the question I'm asking. You know,
you know me, like it is what it is. Either you're gonna do it or you wait. So, but now, I remember, like I said, I came into this relationship with, if you only get one time to leave me, when you leave, you might as well keep on going. I'm not taking you back. I don't want to hear none of that or whatever. But
even though that was my ways, I realized that that was so wrong. You know what I mean? So I changed that. You know, even though you knew that, you know, coming in, you knew that. You knew, like I told you, I got an issue with people leaving, and you know, when you leave, that's it. You know, so make sure you never leave, because the first time you leave, I'm done. You know what I mean? But like I said, I changed that, and I believe that if like I said, if you're trying to be one, when you come into it, first of all, we got to understand that we're gradually growing. Marriage is something that you are building. You know what I mean? When it's all said and done, when till death do us part, when death actually comes, then that's what puts the stamp on whether or not you builded a marriage or not. You know what I mean? Because first of all, just because you have a wedding don't mean you married. Just because you put a ring on doesn't mean that you have a marriage. You know what I mean? So because if marriage is done the right way, then it's a strong, powerful force. It's the closest thing to God that you're probably going to ever see here on this earth. This is why he talks about when he come back for his people, he uses a marriage as the analogy that he wants to use. That's how deep it is. He's like, you know, I'm coming back for my bride. You know what I mean? Like, I'm coming back, you know, so you know, you got to love your wife the way I love the church, you know what I mean? And gave my life for it, you know what I mean? So, and that's the thing. If you are giving your life to that person, then that means you're pretty much at their will. You're at their mercy. Like, whatever I'm not going to die for you. I'm going to live for you. You know what I mean? So if living for you means that I have to stop going to clubs because you want me at home, I'm going to stop going to clubs because this is what I want to do. I want to live for you. My will is towards you. If living for you means I'm going to stop hanging out with the fellas so much and spend more time at home with my kids, I want to live for you. This is what I want to do. I know when you met me, I was going to clubs and all this, that, and the third. But now that I'm living for you and you want me to do blah, 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 this is what I am going to do. You know what I mean? So that's what men do. You know what I mean? That's what men do. You know, now you might be married to a boy still, and he might still want to do all of this stuff. But once again, like I said, forgiveness is key, and you're gonna have to forgive a lot of things. But at the end of the day, if that's not what you want, then you have to make the decision. You know what I mean?
That's so true. That's so true.
So,
even like, you know, and I keep. We keep going back to the relationship with God. Like, I mean, and not to just focus on it from a spiritual aspect, but when you decide to make a lifestyle change, period, you're going to put in the work that you need to get the results, you know, and you're going to sacrifice some things. You're going to drop some things off, some bad habits maybe. You know, maybe I'm not running the streets no more, so that means I got to change my circle of friends. Right. I got to stop answering the phone. I got to stop answering the door. I got to isolate myself for a little bit. You know, you're going to tweak those things in your life to make sure you get the results you need later. Right. You know, and the sacrifices you make today will make sure you're set up for what you want later in your future. That's you know, right. And you can't get the result without the work, you know, just like what you were saying. You know, you gotta be able to, you know, put in something now, sacrifice it now so you can get what you want. Right?
I'm gonna get what I want tonight.
Anybody got any questions or comments, concerns, or anything that they want to ask at this time? You know? Yeah, you know, I'm living for you. When you give up yourself, like Eartha just said, I'm living for you. When you give up yourself for God or for a lifestyle change, then you're making an exchange. You're making an exchange, you know, conscious exchange that I'm now not living for myself and I'm living for you. And living for you is living for me because it's all full circle. It's all full circle.
That's right. Don't worry, Anita. You know I know you're a faithful fan of the show.
Faithful few. Thank you, Anita. Love you, girl.
Somebody complimented your hair earlier.
Oh, Miss Sheila, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Everybody, Team Nika today, boy. Y'all always Team Nika. The fellas, y'all better start supporting, saying some stuff about me.
I'm gonna start over. We can't start over, Nita. You can go back.
We're not gonna lose this episode though. So yeah, it's at 8:00, y'all. But I do want to go run over a little bit in time because, like I said, there are a lot of things that, even though you came into it one way, you know what I mean, that you have to. I love the fact that my wife never required me to be mistake free. You know what I mean? She never required me to be mistake free. And I love that. There are some things that in our vows that we said, you know, there are some things that she didn't make me say, and I sit back and I'll be like, wow, you know, most women wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna share with you exactly one of the things that it was. She said, don't make me no false promise about never cheating. I don't want you to tell me that I'm gonna be the last person that you be with. You know what I mean? And I was like, dang, you know what I mean? Because to be honest, I couldn't promise her that. I would have been lying straight through my teeth if I told her I could promise her that. And she said, but I want you to always be truthful with me, upfront with me, and I want you to love me unconditionally. And it's because of that I aim to please her in every way. You know, just because you know you're going to get merited that forgiveness, it don't mean you have to constantly keep her forgiven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just like me, in fact, I think I encouraged those words because that was the only thing I told her. Well, what you want from me as your wife, and what you this, what that, just don't lie. That's it. Just don't lie. So you saying if I be with somebody else, you won't? Nope, I ain't going nowhere. Just don't lie. You know what I mean? That's not a deal breaker. Just don't lie.
For him now, so for y'all it might be different.
Oh, yeah, that's just for me. I'm not saying, that's just for me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, you know, run around here and let your man do X, Y, Z or let your wife do X, Y, Z. No. I'm just saying, one thing that I said that if you're going into a marriage and you're saying, to death do us part, but then chances are it's not going to work. To death do us part, but, you know what I mean? You know, I'll stay with you as long as you don't do this, you know what I mean? Trust me, man, I only been married for a short 14 years. Guess what? They going to do that, you know, and if they don't do that, they for sure going to do this. And if they don't do this, you better believe that there's going to be a lot of forgiveness that's going to have to take place.
Yeah.
You know, I recommend that you forgive all things. However, you know, you got to have the relationship's best interest at heart. And sometimes relationship best interest at heart is ending it. You know what I mean? I created a lot of enemies because I checked out of relationships without communicating it to the other person. And by the time they figure it out, I had violated and did so many things that brought bitterness and resentment towards me. And some of them are still holding that, you know, to this day. You know what I mean? Oh, man, this is funny. And I had my nephew with me at this time. I saw this girl one time, you know, and she broke up with me. And I saw her one time years later. I'm talking about at least a good 4 or 5 years later. You know, and I walked into her job and I saw her and I spoke. And the words that came out of her mouth, oh my goodness. I said, really? We was teenagers when this happened. Like, you know, so, but like, you never know how long somebody holds on to something. So it's very key that you communicate. If you see the relationship is going down and we're not giving and fulfilling what it is, you know, sometimes to save the relationship, you might have to end it so that you can still so you can still be relatable. You know what I mean? So you can still have that friend, you know. I have, you know, not ex-girlfriend. I got one ex-girlfriend that me and her are still really good friends, you know, to this day. Shout out Leslie. Really good friends to this day. Why? Because we was able to save the relate by ending it, but we still remain friends. We just stay together and do all type of stuff to each other, like we sometimes do in relationships. Oh, I'm gonna get even. You know what I mean? They did it, so I'm gonna get even. I'm gonna go mess with somebody just because they mess with somebody, or I'm gonna stay out and party all night just because they stayed out and party all night. When you start doing stuff like that, you really, really become toxic to not only the relationship but future relationships that you might get into. So that was something I want to drop in.
Yeah, Anita. Yeah, about the conference. Yes. We are gonna do another couples and singles conference. You know, we're just praying right now on the location. We want to make sure that is, you know, in a very good place for as many people to attend as possible. So we're praying on that. So more details to follow. You know, if you want, I'm sure you know you'll be a part of it, and we want to make sure that we, you know, we want to make sure we have the impact, a very effective impact this time around. You know.
And my little sister Natasha Chosen Lemon. She did a dating conference and it was good, guys. Dating 2020 conference. And, you know, the title 2020 was, you know,
how it was about your vision for your relationship and how you view and see things, and how, you know, the effective way to date, and you know what's good dating, healthy dating, stuff like that or whatever. And a lot of times we put this strain on dates because when we date, we acting like we need to know the credit score, the how many kids we gonna have in the future, what house we gonna live in, what car we gonna drive, and you know, all of that. And you know, a lot of times you stress yourself out and you put, you know, a lot of
pressure,
unwanted pressure and negative energy when you could just enjoy the date for what it is. You know what I mean? That stuff will work itself out. Like, this is a game me and you used to play all the time. Remember the game where you put your hand down on it? I think you put your hand down on the paper, you trace your hand, and then you write like 5 houses you want to have, and 5 cars you want to drive, and 5 states you want to live in, 5 guys you want to be married to, and 5 jobs you want to have, and all of that stuff. You know, well, some people really do that, like in real life when they go on dates. You know what I mean? They want to know all this stuff up front. You know what I mean? And you put, you know, extra pressure on it. So yeah, that's what 2020 dating conference was talking about, stuff like that. But y'all remember that game though? I know we ain't the only ones played that game. I used to be mad too, boy, because I never would be the one. Like all out of the 5 she used to pick, it always landed on somebody else. I was like, goodness.
I don't know how many of y'all, you know, in your younger days said what you would not want to tolerate, what you, like, I'll never do that. I'll never be with somebody that XYZ, but you find yourself doing that, you know what I mean? Like, so you evolve to a different person than what you were, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know, and so the same is true now, you know, when you get in relationships and stuff, you know, I say, okay, I wasn't going to tolerate that, you know, but I find myself tolerating it because that ain't even worth me ending the whole, you know, lifetime of a relationship because I said I wasn't going to take that, you know?
Let me read this comment real quick. Sheila says, there are going to be times when you don't even like your spouses, but you love them. This is where the communication process is vital. Therefore, you must have a friend in your spouse, so when these times come, you can still communicate with them. Ooh, that is so key. That's how we made it. That's how we made it. That's really how we made it. Like, at the end of the day, when the romance sometimes fade, and it will sometimes maybe in marriage, if you still have the friendship and maintain the friendship, then that carries you over. Yeah, that carries you over.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, this is my friend first. Like we you know, like we laugh together, we cry together, we joke together. You know, even when we mad, certain stuff would just make us laugh. If we see it, and like it's like, I gotta share this with Nika, or I gotta tell Nika this, you know what I mean? So and it's to the point now where, like, when good stuff happened to me, or bad, like, the first thing I want to do is tell Nika, you know what I mean? That's the first thing. Now, she don't always do that with me, but she tell my mother.
I try.
She tell my mother.
No.
Or Daniel. Those one of the first 2 that's going to know stuff probably sometimes before I do. But like I said, they good people to have around because they got the relationship best interest in heart. But
Miss Sheila, she said splitting that McDonald's meal was the key. That was like when you start from the bottom with somebody, like when y'all come into it, and everybody is just, both of you all are just real upfront and look, this is what I got, nothing. You know what I mean? What you got? Nothing. Okay, so let's build this together. You know what I mean? And that way, nobody feels like they're entitled, you know, more than the other person is. So you're both going to put in 110% to make sure that this works. You know, and so now we look back at that, you know, 2 for $22 cheeseburger meal we shared at McDonald's, and the struggle was real back then, you know, but we appreciate that now, and we still have, you know, our friendship is what kept us afloat. Our friendship is what we always go back to. That's our baseline, you know, and so as long as we continue to keep a healthy friendship, then we can always continue to build our relationship, you know, on a more spiritual, emotional, whatever type of level, you know, there is, but the friendship has to be there first.
Yeah, that's crazy. She's talking about baseline. Good analogy. Yeah. I'm thinking basketball, but I know she not. But when I'm dribbling up at the perimeter, y'all, because I used to have skills, when I was dribbling at the perimeter, if I couldn't get no shot, my good old faithful thing to go to was that baseline. It never let me down. So
trying to tell me she remember the cheeseburger meal like to her.
Oh, we about to answer some of these questions, y'all, because they was dropping in as we was giving the story.
Yeah.
What do you do when the sex fades away? Woo! Gosh, Shawnee, count on you to bring up a hot topic, right? Let's go all the way in. You know what? That's going to be another topic one day, I think. What you do when the sex fade away, me personally, you go find some more. It's like, nah, I'm just playing.
Oh, okay.
No, wait, hold on. Let me answer that for you. I'm gonna be honest, man. Like for me, I'm a very sexual person, man, and sex is very key in my life and in my marriage. You know what I mean? So I gotta be 100% honest. Like if the sex fades away, it better hurry up and come back, because if it doesn't, I am going to go and get it. Like that's as real as I can keep it. Like it better hurry up and come back. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that's the right thing to do or the responsible thing to do or whatever. However, what I am saying is this: once again, if you in a relationship and you're not getting something that you want, then you got a whole nother decision to make. Are you gonna stay or are you gonna go? If I ain't having no sex, I can't stay. I'm sorry, and no, my marriage ain't based on sex. But if that's something that makes me go, if that's something that's my motor, or whatever the case may be, like it's gonna be hard, it's gonna be hard to stay in a marriage that doesn't have sex. Sex is your highest level of communication. Sex is one of, not your highest level, but one of the highest levels of communication, So, that's a whole nother topic in itself. But Shawnee, that's about as real as it good. It better hurry up and come back. Yeah,
and I think like when the sex does start to fade away, you go back to that baseline and the communication and stuff like that, because you have to address it.
Yeah, you
immediately address it and say, hey, I'm feeling this way about this. Hey, it's been this long or whatever. Mm-hmm. What's going on? What's occupying your time? Are you busy? Do you need me to take up slack in some other area of your life? Mm-hmm. Because that goes back to what David said earlier. Whenever we have a lack in one area, we'll find something else, whether it be another habit, another person, to fill that void. And so that's why we have to be responsible in our relationship to communicate with each other and say, hey, our sex life is changing. What can we do at this point right now to salvage this relationship? Because we don't want our significant other to go outside of our marriage or our relationship, because then that comes conflict, and then that and so we want to make sure that that we catch it in that moment and communicate and go back to that friendship, because when you all were friends, you all talked about everything. So why is it now that you're in a relationship, a committed relationship or a marriage, that you don't want to talk anymore? So
I like the hunch. We got the hunch. Shawnee can hunch, so.
I don't know. You start, Shawnee. Why you
Derek,
start him
pretty
up?
boy swag. What's up, Derek?
We love
you too, man. We love you too. Good question. And he said, okay. Yeah, Shawnee, remember the cheeseburgers? Let me go up. Y'all so right. I love y'all. Let me see. Look at Sharita. What's up, Sharita? Sharita, what do you do when you outgrow each other? Like I said, once again, guys, we don't claim to know all the answers. I'm gonna just tell you my opinion and all of that stuff. But what I can't outgrow her. You know what I mean? Because we're growing together. You know what I mean? So I can't outgrow her. You know what I mean? So
for me and him.
For me and her. Yeah. If you outgrow your spouse or you outgrow the relationship, then that means that it's time to get out. It's time to get out. And that means that y'all not growing together. Yeah, that's a more clear answer. That means y'all not growing together. So at some point you got to communicate and figure out what can we do to come together so we can grow together. Because if you're growing together, you would never outgrow each other.
And if you want that person to grow with you, you will tap them on the shoulder and say, wake up, come on, let's go, let's get this. What do you need me to help you do? What do you need me to encourage you? I see you falling back a little, you slacking in this area. Come on, it's all right, we can make it, we can get this together, we can work through this together. So you got to encourage each other if you want it to work. And if you see yourself outgrowing your mate, if you want them to grow along with you, that's when you got to step in and be the coach.
Mm-hmm. Anita, I am not that. Shame on you.
Right in the dictionary. His face right there in the dictionary.
No. But do you need sex to keep the marriage alive?
Let's talk about that on the show a few
I
weeks
don't,
ago.
like I said, I do. I can't speak for nobody else, but I do. I do. I'm sorry. But I don't think, I think that, a marriage can last without it. You know what I mean? I don't think mine can. Can you outgrow apart?
or can you grow apart? That's what you definitely can grow apart. Like I said, if you're not together, that's what's happening. You can't outgrow them if you're growing together. You know what I mean? Like, as I go up, my wife goes up. As she go up, I go up. Like, a lot of men don't want to admit this. My wife makes more money than me. In fact, she holds us down for the most part financially more so than me. And I have a cushion of knowing, my wife, got this. It hasn't always been like that. You know what I mean? But because we grow together, it makes me comfortable enough to know that my wife is never going to try to play me like she's up here and I'm down here because the roles had reversed or flipped or whatever the case may be. We growing together. So everything we built is ours because we're together and we're communicating. You understand what I'm saying? At any point in time, if my wife was to say, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm tired of working. I want to come back home. She'd come to me and she'd tell me. And I'll be like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we will communicate it. That way we grow together and we always on the same page. So like I said, I can't outgrow somebody who I'm growing with. And as long as we communicating and staying together, we can't grow apart. You know what I mean? So, like, for example, me and my wife, like I said, we always communicating. So if I say, hey, baby, look, God has given me this vision or this dream, and he's telling me that he want me to do blah, 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 blah. She has to be on board, because if she's not on board, then I still go and try to do it. That's the beginning of day one for us growing apart. Anytime you go to do something that your spouse can't be involved in or be a part of, then that's the day one of you guys growing apart. You know what I mean? So, and me and my wife, we do everything together. I tell her everything. We talk about everything. Like, she one of the fellas to me. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes, I get invited to go on trips out of town, out of the country, and stuff like that. And I'll be like, well, can I bring my wife? You know what I mean? Because that's my best friend. That's my homie right there. You know what I mean? And I want her to come, else it don't seem fun. I remember when I used to smoke weed, like, a movie wasn't funny unless I got high, or the club wasn't jumping unless I got high or drunk or whatever. Well, that's how I am now. If my wife don't go, it's not going to be fun. If my wife don't go, I'm not going to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So, and that's how I am, because that's how you grow together. You know what I mean? If your spouse ain't the person that you want to spend most of your time with, then how y'all growing together? How can y'all even, communicate? Like, we got a trip coming up. She talking about she don't want to go. But, and now it's making me don't want to go. But, we're going to figure this thing out. But, but now certain things, not saying they always have to be with you and always go with you, all that stuff like that. But whenever you going and venturing out into new stuff in life, whenever you venturing out into new things in life or whatever, as far as goals and dreams and aspirations, they got to come on those rides. They got to go for the ride with you. Because if they don't, and they don't support you, then y'all are going to grow apart. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times it was stuff I did with her that I didn't even like doing, but I know she loved doing it and I wanted to grow with her, so I went. And then I began to love the things that I didn't love at once, but I went with her and was doing it. I say that to say this, like, and we're believers. I honestly believe that if you love your wife, right, and your wife loved going to church, then I don't care what issues you got with anybody in the church. If your wife loved going to church and she loved having you with her when she go, get your butt up and go to church. I don't care if you don't believe. Do it for your wife. You know how many things I didn't believe in and didn't like and didn't love, but because Nika loved it and I loved pleasing her, I got up and I went for her. You know what I mean? So it's churches I go to that I don't really want to go to, but I go because I know she want to go. You know what I mean? So, things like that should make you, happy, make you pleased, make you want to please your spouse. I don't like it. It really bothers me, when I see couples growing apart. You know what I mean? When I see couples like you here and they there, you know what I mean? Well, why y'all ain't together? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If y'all together, you know what I mean? So that just bugs me out, so. anyways, guys, we running late. Running over into an hour and 30 minutes now. It's been requested that we extend the show, but I don't think we're gonna do that just yet. When we have certain topics, maybe we might say, you know, okay, we're going to extend or whatever the case may be. But once again, we thank you guys, you know, for watching.
Yes.
We hope that we said something that would encourage somebody. And guys, when you hear this stuff going on and we talking about these things and the viewers are giving you good advice and stuff like that, try to work it, you know, to see if it actually works. Try to work it. One thing I want to reiterate, we got a show that we did called Mind Over Matter and Matters of the Heart. Go back, guys, and listen to that show and work that formula that we talked about in that show. And I guarantee you, hey, Adrian, I guarantee you that if you work that formula, it will bless your whole life. It will bless your whole life. So, do that. JB the Icon said, my friendship with my lady brought a lot of arguments to a quick end.
Yeah, that's true.
That's right.
That's true.
That's right.
Yeah, and also after this, we have our videos uploaded to YouTube, right?
Oh yeah.
And so we have the link ready for you all. So as soon as we're done with this video, we're gonna upload it to YouTube, and then when David posts this video, the YouTube link is gonna be in the comments, so y'all can go ahead and go back to those old videos that we did starting back in January, talking about mind over matter and the issues of the heart and things like that. So please, ma'am, please, sir, go in and share this video. Once you get the link to YouTube, go and share those videos as well. I mean, we want to reach as many people as possible. We want to touch as many homes as possible.
That's right.
You know, with these messages and stuff, because like David said, you know, they are inspired by God, and with, you know, the comments, recommendations from you all, the energy, the feedback we get from you, we love it. I mean, and we just soak it all up, and we really appreciate the support that you all have given us.
Right. Our producers are trying to get our attention. What you trying to say?
Trying to say that the description.
Okay.
Oh, the description. We have one. What is it?
You can put it.
Oh, you say tell them to subscribe. That's what you're saying.
You can. You do when you post the video.
Yeah.
So
you can y'all subscribe. That's what you're talking about. Subscribe to our channel, to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Okay. You wanna come on? You wanna speak and tell them how they can subscribe? Huh? Come on. You're gonna just have to lean your head in and say it. All right? Because I don't want you to knock this over.
Right, Nita, right? She said you so lost on the video. Say everybody hey.
Tell
right.
And then
Daddy phone. Princess Jasmine, everybody.
See, that's the YouTube camera.
She's our YouTuber.
She the one who put together our YouTube channel. Go ahead, tell them how to subscribe and what it's about.
You have to press the red button that says subscribe, and when you subscribe, there's a notification when we post new YouTube videos, and when you like them, that let us know that you want us to do more videos.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Princess
much. Y'all heard it
Jasmine.
from one of our producers of the show, and that's what we're gonna do. Y'all go subscribe because Princess Jasmine said so.
Thank you, Miss Sheila. She said her husband is watching.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
Great.
Thank you to Mr. Johnson, Tommy Johnson. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you.
We really do. We appreciate it. All our new viewers, man, we thank you, and especially those who come back. We thank you. That's right, Shatika. Especially those who come back. So we are going to. Anita always picking on me. We are going to give a few announcements. Go ahead, and then we're going to get up out of here. Because I'm getting hungry. Ooh, my sister made some macaroni, y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! Lord have mercy. Go ahead.
All right. So, as always, love you too, Yvette.
Love
as
you.
always, like I said, for the last 4 weeks, or last 4 weeks of the show, I was going to be wearing my bling t-shirts with the lovely embellishment on them. And you can purchase the t-shirts at your leisure. Today, I am wearing a t-shirt with a female. You can see her red lips somewhere, like right up in here. Yeah, so those are her lips. If you can see the shape of her face, she has on like a wife beater shirt. with the silver straps on it. Mm-hmm. Not sure if you can see, but this is her hair. All this is her hair, right? Her afro. And inside of it says encouragement, beautiful, strong, lovely, favored by God. What else? Strong. Did I say strong? Curvy, gentle, sweet. Black girls rock. Everything that describes me is in this shirt. And so I'm wearing this shirt with pride today. If you would like a shirt like this, please send us an email at creatingmiracleslcc@gmail.com. That is creatingmiracleslcc@gmail.com. In the subject line of your email, you can put Bling Factory. And once you do that, inbox us your sizes, and I will get the shirts ordered for you. They start at $22. That is the lowest price for the shirts, depending on the type of style you want and the embellishments that you request. So send me a quick email. Let me know how many shirts you want, what you want on your shirts, and we will make it happen.
Great.
All right.
Let me see. Announcements. We have... What we got going on in April at the temple? Nothing, right? We done for April. All right, we done for April.
Talk about your ordination. Thank everybody.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out to the my ordination on last Saturday. I thank everybody who wanted to be there but couldn't make it. I thank y'all for y'all prayers. I thank y'all. I thank everybody who traveled near and far. I think some people came down for one day, less than 24 hours. Came down. Shout out to Keisha. Thank you so much. Came down all the way from Maryland, turned right back around, and that's big. My brother Stanley from Delaware, thank God for you and your family for coming down. Thank God for my Vision Covenant Connections family. Yes. They came through in large numbers. Bishop Frederick Lawrence, y'all. And those of you who was there, did not Tony preach his behind off? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. The prophet came through the house and he spoke. He was right on point with everything he was saying. It was some stuff he spoke concerning my wife that nobody knew. We didn't even share with nobody yet. Some things he spoke concerning me, we didn't share with nobody. We thank everybody. I want to thank who else came. Everybody from Florida. We thank God for Pastor Worm, who came from Orangeburg. We thank God for my niece who came all the way from she's lives in Maryland. She came down here for the ordination. Kiara, thank you, Kiki. Yeah. I love you so much. I thought you was coming over here today, but I guess you'll come over here later on tonight. Thank you guys so much. I don't want to miss nobody, but everybody who came, everybody who prayed, everybody who was watching the video on Facebook, because we got a lot of views from the live video of a special shout out to my boy Chris Junius.
Oh yeah,
Chris, man, I love you. Blood couldn't make us no closer. You know I always got your back. You always had my back, and I know you still got my back. So quick story. I remember me and Chris got into a fight, a real fight, fist fight. Then we went. This how close we are. Then we went to the club the next night. We didn't speak to each other after the fight, and when we went to the club the next night, and somebody tried to fight me, and he ended up knocking the person out. So anyways, I just wanted to share that story real quick, So that's my brother, man. That's my brother for life. That's my brother for life. Thank you, Malaya.
Yes.
For everything. They came through, y'all, and they cooked some stuff for us.
Yeah.
The night before, the night they cooked some stuff for us, man. They made this buffalo chicken dip that was awesome. I'm probably gonna eat the last of that later on tonight. But I just want to thank everybody. A special thanks to my sister, Sabrina, and my first lady, prophetess, everybody. Thanks to my mother. I want to thank my pastor for seeing something in me to actually have this day come about. Thank God for my dad for planting the seed. Mm-hmm. Just so many people. I don't want to get full here on tonight. So many people. Who am I leaving out? I want to thank Jasmine Addison for coming from Wilmington. She came up. I want to thank her for coming. Who else? Just everybody. I don't want to leave nobody out. Just want to thank everybody that came. I want to thank my daughter, Princess Jasmine, for being my daughter. I thank you for winning the race, girl, and making it to your mommy's belly. Thank you so much, Jasmine, that you didn't give up and you won the race and you are here. I had to do that for her, guys. That's my baby. So, anyways, who else I need to thank? I feel like I'm leaving somebody out. I just want to thank everybody. Like I had my brother Chad, Pastor Chadrick Joseph of Destined for Greatness Ministries down in Brunel, Florida. Thank you so much for conducting the service, for being part of protocol and worship. Bishop Frederick Lawrence, aka Super Bishop, thank you so much for everything that you have, even in Brooklyn, things that you have instilled in me. And thank you for all your prayers, all your covering. Thank you, Shepherd Mother Lawrence, for everything. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for that praise that you let out during the service that sent the devil running. I just thank everybody. It was a blessed service. It was great. It was awesome. You had to be there. You would have been able to feel the experience and the vibes. I want to thank my brother for taking photos. He don't claim to be a photographer, but he does great photography work. Y'all stay tuned for that. I actually want to thank my sister Natasha for video coverage and photos. That y'all stay tuned for that as well. I really believe, not to in my own horn, but Natasha, I want you to know something. I really believe that you are going to get more calls now to do things like what you did for me. When this package go out, I'm gonna make it my business to. I feel that. I feel like that's something that God was planting and that He's going to do. And I hope you want to do this close to full time, because you're going to be getting called for christenings, for weddings, for people that just want to get together and go take pictures. It's about to start booming. I watched this. Thus saith the Lord. And she does good work. Who else? I thought I said Tony. Yeah, I said Tony preached us happy.
Oh yeah,
man, that boy he went in. He went all the way in. So in May, guys, did we announce?
No.
You want to? No. Okay. All right, we'll wait later, but we got some special announcements coming up in the near future. So you guys stay tuned. And I think that is it. I think we are done for that. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right, guys. We went over a little longer today, but hopefully everybody enjoyed. You all that stayed to the end, we appreciate you. We love you guys so much. Don't forget to share. And when we send our YouTube link, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
We love you. We love you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I wanna before we pray too, I wanna thank our house and the people in our house, that the people at the temple that did all they did, especially my sister Sharita. Like that girl got my back. She always come through. I thank God for people like her. Like before I can ask, she doing it. You know what I mean? I walked in because we had dinner at a little, what was that? Oh, at the resource center. Yeah, we had dinner there, and as soon as me and my wife was walking through the door, she saw, like she was looking out the window waiting on the car to pull up. I mean, she had our plates coming. You know what I mean? And she always does that, not just on my particular day yesterday. She always do that. You know what I mean? When she cooked, she have food for me, and not only just food, just prayer. She called me sometime. David, how you doing? I know her and me could be talking all the time. And you just need people like that or whatever. Shout out to Vic, who does everything. So we're going to pray and we're going to get out of here. God, we thank you for yet another successful and another impactful and another effective show, God. We thank you that you continue to be God, and we ask that you release your presence and your spirit all across the airwaves so that this can reach someone and that this can save somebody's marriage, somebody's relationship, oh God. God, we ask that you would continue to build us up and strengthen us as we do what you have called us to do. And God, we will forever give your name the praise, the glory, and the honor. Right now, we continue to ask that you enlarge our territory and that you would increase our platform and that you would increase the viewers, oh God. Father God, so that your name can be praised throughout and abroad. And we will forever give your name the praise and the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
See y'all next time.
Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.